Hello, everyone. I'm assuming you have made it into our webinar on the elementary MAT at K-State. My name's Tom Bonce. I am a professor in the program. I'm also the director of the program. I'm on the admissions committee. I teach in the program, and I grade portfolios and do reports so I'm a point of contact for all the students in both the elementary and secondary programs, and welcome here to our webinar. I'm going to just give you a brief overview of our elementary program and talk about some of the highlights of our program. That's going to be like a 22-minute or so presentation, and I'll try to stick to the highlights, and then we'll open it up for any questions. More importantly, any questions that you may have. And I'll also give my phone number away at some point during the presentation, and feel free to call me or email me at any point during the application process, during your class. I give my phone number out, cell phone number out to everybody, so all the students, so you can call me anytime. I also want to thank two of my colleagues who are on this webinar right now, Brittany Burgess and Diane Leon. They helped to organize this and get things together, and I appreciate that. And they'll also share your contact. Before we go any further, because you're a part of this webinar, we can send you a $65 application fee waiver, and we'll give you information about how to obtain that fee waiver at some point here. We'll put it in the chat. Hey, by the way, if you could find if you can find the chat, and if you scroll up with your cursor up to the top, or sometimes it's at the bottom, and just in the chat, if you could say where you're from, that would be great. So your name and where you're from. So I'm Tom, and I'm actually in Morse Bluff, Nebraska right now. And that's where I live. And so here's mine. And yeah, oh, look at everybody putting theirs in. I see you, Jessica, Jason, Anne, Premier, Kyla, Brianna, maybe, I don't know. Brina, I think I got it right. Brina, all right, that's good. So we got Colorado, Atlanta, at Clarksville, Tennessee, outstanding. Pleasanton, Topeka, Susan Quinn, I see you, fantastic. Well, for some reason, I don't think I hit send, and I don't know why it didn't. I hit return. Oh, there we go. There it went. Okay, so fantastic. Well, for those of you who are out of state, the program is essentially exactly the same. The cost of the program is exactly the same for you out of state folks. But if you have any questions about being out of state and doing the program, we'll try to answer them throughout the presentation, but if you have others, just let me know. So there's the agenda, and I just want to spend just a minute on why teaching. I know some of you are still probably, if you're, most of our students have already done something else as a career, as a job, and they're looking for something else to do. Most of you on this Zoom meeting right now are looking to change careers, frankly. You got a degree in something when you were 19 years old that maybe you didn't. How do you know for sure whether or not you want to be a sociologist or a social worker or whatever? And now you don't feel terribly satisfied in that position, and you can imagine yourself being a teacher. So I just jotted down some ideas about why teaching is a decent career choice. So many of my colleagues, I'm 56 years old. I've been a teacher for a long time. I've never regretted my decision to become a teacher. I love teaching. I love students. And I love the challenge, the kind of intellectual challenge of building a course, putting things together, motivating students, helping students, achieve something important and significant. And so teachers have great purpose, and not every job is that way, right? But teachers do. Some of you may be veterans, military veterans. We have a lot of veterans that come over, and veterans make great teachers, but not only military veterans, veterans of other occupations also make great teachers. Maybe you've developed some leadership skills or interpersonal skills or teamwork skills or whatever. Teachers have, in my mind, a great work environment. Generally speaking, the people that become teachers are people-friendly, people-centered people. And so it makes for a great work environment, and teachers are kind of fun and have great personalities and so forth. In my lifetime, I don't know that there's ever been a higher demand for high quality teachers, and that will eventually come. I was just with my sister, who's a nurse, and she said, teaching just a little behind nursing. We're starting to pay nurses a lot more than we used to, and now she thinks, and I agree, that we will start to pay teachers more as the need grows higher. You should also think about education being this huge multi-billion-dollar business, because it is. We spend more money, our governments, state, local, and national, spend more money on education than we do anything else, except but for servicing the debt and our military. So there are literally billions of dollars floating around out there. And once you have your teaching license, you can go other places. You get your Kansas teaching license, and it's portable. You can take that to Tennessee or Mississippi or Georgia or California or wherever you may be. Once you have the Kansas teaching license, by the way, you go through the program, you get a master's degree plus a Kansas teaching license. Once you have that teaching license, then you transfer the whole license to another state. And states allow you a couple of years. They'll give you a license if you need to do something. In Louisiana, for example, you have to take a Louisiana history test. Many states, you don't have to do anything. They'll just, you fill out paperwork and you can just transfer your license from Kansas to Nebraska or wherever. But if you do have to do something else like a Louisiana history test, they give you some time to do that. So you're portable. With a teaching license, you have horizontal mobility or portability. You're also vertically mobile. Once you have a teaching license and a little teaching experience, you can become a principal, a superintendent, a curriculum writer, a university faculty member like I am. But more than anything else, teaching is a job that values your personal autonomy, freedom, and creativity. It's up to you to figure out how to best organize a class to motivate and maximize learning for the kids in your class. And really, if you think about it, is there any, what other jobs would compare to the importance of being an elementary teacher? My wife was a teacher's aide for 13 years in Wamego, and she said, A lot of times that first day of school, especially the kindergartners, some of the students were crying, some of their parents were crying, some of the kids knew their letters and numbers. Many of the kids didn't know their letters, numbers, and a lot of the kids didn't know how to blow their nose or line up for recess or any of that. And by the end of the year, 9 months with a professional educator, they know how to line up for recess. They know how to blow their nose. They know how to raise their hand and ask questions. And most of them know how to read. If you can imagine that complex skill, right? Imagine teaching 5-year-olds. Yeah, there's these 26 symbols, and these symbols make different sounds, and in combination, they make even more different sounds, and those sounds make words, and words make sense. And it's terribly complex. I'm not dogging out secondary teachers or high school teachers. That's an important job too, but there's something so fundamental and foundational to being an elementary teacher, to spark, encourage, motivate curiosity, and a desire to know more about the world around you. And that, I think all of us can remember the great teachers that we've had, and most of the time, those great teachers oftentimes are elementary teachers. I still remember Mrs. Raffy, my second grade teacher. She was awesome. So if you're still thinking about on the fence about teaching, those are at least a few of the reasons why I think teaching is a decent career. Why K-State? We have developed this program specifically for you. 7-8 years ago, we would get phone calls from people like you, and they'd say, "Hey, geez, I got a degree in psychology, and I've never really used it, and I'm a parent now, and I'm out in the schools, and I can imagine myself being a teacher. I'm a para maybe. And what do you got for me?" And we used to say, "Well, your first move is to move to Manhattan, Kansas. And then, you need to spend 2 or 3 years getting another undergraduate degree, and then you too can be a teacher." So we blew up that formula, and we said, no, we got to make that track a little bit easier. We don't want to just throw people into the classroom without ever having any idea, any context about what they're doing. But by the same token, it can't be 3 years and move to Manhattan, Kansas. So we created this program with you in mind, and trying to remove as many obstacles as we possibly could for the adult learner who is wanting to change careers and become a teacher. And I think we've been successful doing it. First of all, time. The traditional MAT track, actually it isn't 12 months, it's 11 months. You would begin May 16th and you end, you're done with everything by the middle of April. And so it's really an 11-month program. We just say 12 months just for the convenience of it. It's a year long. So it's, and if you chose the residency, which we'll talk about that last bullet, then it's an 18-month program, but you're getting paid the whole time that you're doing your master's degree and preparing for your teaching license. We'll talk about that in a moment. Convenience. All of the courses in the MAT are asynchronous. You don't all have to log on at 7 o'clock or Thursdays at 3 or anything like that. That we realize some of you work in the evening, some of you work during the day, some of you all of you can't log on at once, but we do offer live interactive Zooms in all of the classes, so you can speak directly one-on-one with your professor, with your grad cat, and so forth. And again, there are due dates, but you work as you can, given your schedule, throughout the K-State. Most of our students continue to work until student teaching, which begins in the traditional program the first week in January and goes until, again, mid-April. But most people, also have to do a 64-hour practicum experience in the fall, and you just have to get off Tuesday and Wednesday mornings for a couple hours, for 8 or 10 weeks until you get your 64 hours. The MAT is personalized. Every one of you are going to be assigned a veteran master teacher, a grad cat, who is working, he or she is working on their doctorate here at K-State. They are awesome people. We have the best team of mentor teachers around. And while all of the classes are organized by, tenured or tenure track faculty members like me, you interact mostly with your grad cats who are experienced, practical, teachers who have been around the block a couple of times. And we cap those, the number of students for each grad cat at 5 and at the most 10. And they're with you from the beginning of the program until the end. And they'll get to know your strengths, your weaknesses, and they'll tailor things to you. And their charge is to make you the best possible teacher after hanging out with you for 11 months for the traditional program or 18 months for the residency. I mentioned already, license transfers are not a problem. If you have specific questions about your state, just shoot me an email. Di Murphy will tell you exactly what you need to do once you have your Kansas license to transfer it to another state. I'm pretty sure that we're the highest rated teacher education program in Kansas. I don't know of anybody that's any higher. We're number 17. You can click on that link. Brittany and Diane will send this out to you, and it'll take you right to the U.S. News and World Report. So that's awesome. But not only are we rated number 17 because of our faculty and the resources and so forth, we're also rated that high because we attract this great, diverse field of candidates. We have this year in your cohort, we'll have a couple hundred people, more than a couple hundred people joining this cohort of students. And we have a medical doctor that is interested in becoming a teacher. I talked to an engineer earlier today, an electrical engineer that wants to switch over to become a teacher. We have people from all over representing a bunch of different fields, and it's awesome. They bring their perspective. Not only that, our students are working in diverse schools. Some of you will be working in urban core center schools, some of you in suburban schools, some of you in rural schools. And so it makes for this great blending of students and faculty and ideas. And we'll have people from all over the country and even the world. We'll have 4 or 5 or 6 normally students from foreign countries in the program. A lot of programs don't talk about how much their program costs. We put it right out there for you. It's $510.60 per credit hour for both in-state and out-of-state students, and it costs $15,000. Our traditional program costs $15,828. Our residency program is $1,011 more expensive than that, so it's $16,000, whatever, because there's 2 additional credit hours that you have to take, and I'll go to the residency option in just a second. So very quickly, here is the curriculum for the elementary MAT. You can see the May intercession is not 4 credits. I'm not sure, that's a typo. The May intercession, you do social foundations. You learn some things about, the bigger issues in the history and philosophy of K-12 education. Try to put a little bit of a context what it is that you're doing when you're a teacher, when you become a teacher. Then you have my class 702, which is basically the nuts and bolts of teaching, how to write a lesson plan, how to write clear objectives, how to teach at different levels of thinking, how to motivate students, ideas about the uniqueness of every one of your students, and so forth. And you get even more of that in teaching diverse learners, where it's really a focus on the students, the elementary students that you'll encounter, and who they are, what makes them tick, what kinds of backgrounds do kids come from, and how do you deal with all that diversity as an elementary school teacher. Fall semester, and again, this is the traditional program. Fall semester is a little more, it's rigorous. 2 big methods classes, and then also a 64-hour teaching practicum. And so you're applying the ideas that you learned in the summer to actually teaching in the schools. This is not just observation hours. This practicum is you actually going into a school, learning kids' names, actually teaching, developing a relationship with a cooperating teacher. So you'll be in the same classroom, the same building with the same cooperating teacher in that internship, the 12-week full-time teaching internship down here in the spring semester. You have a January intercession class taught by Dr. Larson, who's awesome. That is another methods class, but it's also a transition for you to go from being a practicum teacher to being a student teacher, where eventually you'll take on the full gamut, the full course load of your teacher, and be responsible for the instruction for the entire day for 2, 3, 4 weeks. Then you end with a master's project. I teach this class as well. You actually begin and end with that class. You'll be in that class from the beginning, so you'll know from the very beginning what the final exam is. This is the final exam, in essence, completing this master's project, which is a teaching and learning portfolio. And so we'll get you ready for that. I just want to take just a moment, and well, I guess we'll continue on with this, and then I'll Brittany, don't let me forget. I'll also talk a little bit more about the residency and show them that. Let's talk a little bit about money. There are national programs for teacher loan forgiveness. By the way, that loan forgiveness is for whether you incurred those loans before this program or during the program. You can get loan forgiveness. You need to teach in a Title I school. Most schools are Title I schools. And if you click on this link, it will take you to the page, and you can dig around on that page, and you can find the list of schools in Kansas or Tennessee or wherever you happen to be located that are Title I schools. You teach in a Title I school for 5 years, and they'll pay back they'll forgive $17,500 worth of student loans. You can also apply for student loans. You should apply for this. Slides a little low. You should apply for the 21-22 FAFSA as well as the 22-23 FAFSA. The 21-22 FAFSA will be for the summer classes, and the 22-23 will be for next year's classes. Those of you who are in Kansas and you want to teach, if you agree to teach in a Kansas elementary school anywhere, you can receive $2,217 per semester for the Kansas Teacher Service Scholarship. This is not based upon need. This is not based upon academics. If you apply for it, you will get it. What did he say? It's free money. If you apply for it, you will get it. They say that the preferred deadline is May 1st. I've never heard of anyone not getting this scholarship. even though we're after May 1st, you'll be fine. Get your MAT application in as soon as you possibly can, and get this Kansas Teacher Service Scholarship in as soon as you possibly can. This pays for roughly a third of your total tuition. There's not additional fees, by the way. There's no hidden fees other than maybe in 1 or 2 classes, you'll have to buy a textbook. But most classes come with free ebooks, by the way. There's also Global Campus Scholarship. Those are $1,000 per semester. The big item is if you could find a job and become a full-time elementary teacher through the Kansas Teacher, the MAT Elementary Teacher Residency Program, that would be ideal. We have a secondary teacher residency program that's already been approved by KSDE. Our elementary teacher residency program, and I'm going to show you this, will be approved in July. And people are already applying. People like you are already applying for teaching jobs and telling the administrators, hey, I've applied for the K-State's MAT. K-State's MAT will include a teacher residency beginning July 12th. And if they have any questions about the residency, just have them call me. And then I've also got these links for in case you're veterans. These are the admissions requirements. We're gonna give you a because you're on this webinar. We're gonna waive this fee. Brittany or Diane can send you a link or an application fee waiver to. You need your undergraduate degree. Unofficial transcripts will work. Your GPA needs to be somewhere around 3. If it's below 3, that's okay. We can still work with you, but you need to probably reach out to me and write a little paragraph of why your GPA was low to begin with and why you think it's going to be better now. You'll also respond to 3 innocuous interview questions. Don't study for these. It's basically, why do you want to be a teacher? What do you think you can add to the lives of students? That kind of thing. And then just the names and the emails of 3 recommenders. Yes, you can continue working. I've already talked about field experiences. You'll get a Kansas K-6 license at the end that transfers to other states. Yes, by the way, once you have a K-6 license, you can test into other secondary subjects. So you can get a K-6 license and then test into secondary math or science or social studies or whatever. So I'm going to show you a couple of things here. And if you want, I can send these to you as well. Here is the latest information that we have from KSDE about the elementary residency. And I think you can still see this. I hope you can still see this. But it says, in essence, and I can send this to you. You shoot me an email and I can send this to you so you can show administrators in schools that you're applying to that this is all but a done deal. We had no AFIs. Basically, this program goes before a bunch of lower tier committees before it gets to this ERC, which will happen in June. And then, and it's going to them with no AFIs. We could go to them even if we had 25% areas for improvement or what, but we have none, which is really, really super good. And then it will be approved on July 12th. And KSDE says as it'll be approved the afternoon of July 12th, and students can start applying for the residency the evening of July 12th. And I mean, officially applying for the residency through KSDE. So you can apply for, what I'm trying to say is you can apply for jobs and I'm not telling you that you have to do that. You don't. I mean, some of you might, might not want to do that. You want to take a little bit, you don't feel comfortable doing it. So don't do it if you don't want to. But some of you I know are interested in how to, how you can continue to earn money while you're preparing to be a teacher. So we don't have the residency mapped out on the elementary web page yet, because it hasn't officially been approved, but it will be exactly like the secondary. All these steps will be, and again, you can email me. There's my email address, by the way. You can email me anytime and I can give you more information. And you do not, repeat, you do not have to pass. Elementary residency students do not need to pass any praxis test. They just need to secure a full-time teaching position in an elementary school, all right, and enroll in EDCI 886, and then apply for the license. So the curriculum is a little bit different, and let me put that up. We slow things down a little bit and make it a 18-month program. So here is what the summer is exactly the same. So you can opt into the residency pathway whenever you want. Okay, so step one is to gain admission into the MAT. Okay, and step two, well, actually simultaneous with step one, it would be to apply for teaching jobs in the schools that you want to teach in, and tell them that you're planning on doing the MAT residency pathway. So Susan said, what's the advantage of the residency program? Well, the advantage is that you're beginning already this August, you would be the full-time teacher of record in an elementary school, okay? And we would get you ready for that as much as we could in EDCI 886, which is a week-long class that begins the first week in August for 5 days, runs fairly intensively. And we just try to get you ready as much as we can for your first day, first week, first month, and all of the rigors of what goes on in your role as an elementary teacher. And we try to tailor as much as we can to your particular school, your particular context, your particular grade level, your particular kids. And so that's the real advantage. The disadvantage, I guess, is that you're trying to do both things. You're trying to be a first-year teacher and learn how to be a teacher simultaneously. And so that's the biggest disadvantage. And also that it takes the 11-month program and makes it an 18-month program. So that's that. Are there any other questions? And I think you can unmute yourself and ask, or, geez, this is great. We've got 15 people here. That's awesome. And you can ask questions over the mic or on the chat. So we'll stop here. Brittany, Diane, have I missed anything?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but we do have our first question. How would you suggest that people go about searching for teaching jobs?
Excellent question. And it's right here in the steps. The Educate Kansas website is the single best place to look for find teaching jobs. So let's see, let's view jobs by region and category. There's a 5th grade, 1st grade, element. I don't know. I haven't played around with this. Oh, so I don't know. Where do we want to search? These are just Kansas jobs, right? So let's just, where do we, let's see who, let's see, Mary Perkins. Mary, where are you located? You can unmute yourself, Mary, and tell me where you're located, which one of these regions. We'll just say Mary's in North Central, or let's make Mary from Wichita Metro, and let's go elementary and submit. See what's there. And not all jobs make it to this, and so you can also just check the schools in your area website. Sometimes they hit that first. Sometimes it's worth just a call to the elementary school principals and say, hey, you know, I'm going to do the K-State elementary residency. So here's some elementary teaching positions. So you can see there's quite a few. And well, a lot. So that's a good way to search for jobs. So what else do we have? If you report for work, Jason, July 25th, we will work it out with 886. Okay, your work comes first, and your responsibilities to your school comes first. And you know, we might even rethink if there's a lot of people like you that report that early, we might rethink when we start. You know, we might have multiple start dates for the course, Jason. Have you already signed up for 886, Jason? Oh, okay. You'll need to sign up for that. I don't know why, Brittany, can we have students unmute themselves, or maybe we don't have the power to do that. Oh, well, we'll use chat until we can. Yeah, Jason. Oh, there, Jason, you're unmuted.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
It worked. Thank you, Brittany.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll need to sign. What's going to happen for the residency? You're gonna once it works out on July 12th, and once KSD passes it, right? You will submit your form to KSDE, and they're going to ask us, is Jason a student in good standing at K-State? We will answer, in all likelihood, I can just tell by looking, in all likelihood, we're going to answer yes, you are a student in good standing. The second question they're going to ask is Jason enrolled in EDCI 886? Because that will be your supervised experience that they require for the residency. So that you'll need to get into that. Do you already have a job, Jason?
I have an offer from 501.
Excellent.
And yeah, it was, for everybody else out there, it was extremely easy. I canceled 4 interviews because I really liked the one that So yeah, there's a lot of jobs out there.
There's hey, does this tell you anything, elementary teachers? Get this. So for that Kansas Teacher Service Scholarship, and Jason, you need to apply for that right away.
Well, I know. Well, yeah, I saw you emailed me on Friday, and I looked at it and saw the date. So I thought I couldn't. So I'm glad you brought that up. I'll do that.
No. I've never heard them turning anyone away. So
Okay.
that's free money. You just got, I mean, you've got to take a shot at it. I've never heard of anyone not getting it. My daughter did it, and
So I guess so. Now with 501, and I know they have a relationship with Kansas State, so I assume that everything is good. But I told them that I had applied for the MAT, not the residency program. Do I need to contact them 501 back, or does that matter?
well, what is the person's name? Beryl New or Beryl?
Yeah, Dr. New. Yeah.
Dr. New. Yeah. She knows about this.
Okay. Well, and she's the one, because I asked her, because I had just started the process. I said, should I wait to interview with 501? And she's like, no. And I had an interview the next day and an offer the next day.
Yeah, and by the way, everyone, Jason's experience is not unique. There are 5 hard to fill subject areas in Kansas, and they're the usual suspects. Secondary math, secondary science, special education. Get this though. The 2 kind of outliers are secondary English language arts, which is crazy, right? That we have a high need for secondary English, and just regular elementary classroom teacher. Those are the 5 hardest to fill jobs in the state of Kansas as of last year. And the reason why they're bending over backwards to help people like you become teachers, okay? And hey, this is just a win for everybody, right? We take people like, and I'm just picking on Jason and Susan because you happen to be on my screen right now, but we take professionals like you, already have experience. Most of our students have children of their own. Many of our students already have experiences in the schools. They already kind of know the culture and the language. They're already rooted in their communities, right? You know what I mean? And it's just a win for everyone. It's a win for our students. It's a win for these local schools. Jason, I'm sure they're doing backflips behind the scenes. They're saying, you wouldn't believe who came to interview today. We're so lucky we have Jason, this and that and the other thing. So yeah, it's really, I'm not going to say that it's easy to find a job, but it's easier right now to find a job than it has been before. But now you've got to, go into this thing with your eyes wide open. That, being a teacher is a difficult job, my dear friends. It is not easy. It may sound like it's not terribly difficult and I don't know why. I don't know why it is that way. With maybe because we've all experienced, schooling so much. Great teachers make it look easy. You know what I mean? They, but really it's a lot of behind the scenes work, and it just gets easier and easier as you gain more experience too. But that first year, it's a bear, as my father-in-law says, it's a bear cat. That first year is a bear cat. And I don't care if you're teaching kindergarten, maybe especially if you're teaching kindergarten, by the way, but or 5th grade, it's challenging.
I was going to add that I was very pleased that they're paying me, because I have an MBA. They're paying me for my master's my previous master's and experience. So
Jason, this is public record. So would you mind saying what the
52.
starting salary is? $52,000 for a teacher with a master's degree in 501. Hey, and by the way, the difference between Jason with a master's degree and Jason with an undergraduate degree is usually 2,500, 3,000. You know what it is off the top of your head in Topeka? Something close to that.
Yeah. So I was actually, and I hadn't really worried about the money because, I kind of knew a ballpark. So I was really pleased with that.
That's awesome. Yeah. And so that's another way that the program kind of pays for itself, right?
Right.
And people say, oh, geez, Mons, is it harder to get a job because you have a master's degree?
I don't even know if, honestly, the principal at the elementary that I went with was super aggressive. And I don't even know if she knew about the salary, though. That was through the HR department.
Right.
She was just, because they released my name or the candidates' names to the administration's last Tuesday afternoon. She called me Tuesday afternoon. I interviewed Wednesday. And then I got 3 or 4 more requests for interviews after she had already offered.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and Jason too, honestly, just so we're giving truth in advertising here to everybody else on this Zoom. How do I say it? You're a male applying for a female dominated position, and elementary schools really, really want awesome, excellent male role models, to be honest. I'm just being honest with everybody and I'm honest with you too about, as an elementary teacher, you have to teach 4 major subject areas, right? There's social studies, there's English language arts, there's math, there's science. Those subject areas aren't created equally either.
I will add real quick that I looked into this in Colorado, and my local school district, they had no clue. They didn't know what, I don't know. There just wasn't a lot of information from the school district. They're like, well, we don't know about this program. And, so finding a school or a school district that knows about the program makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, and we have a lot of people, Jason, that's an excellent comment. And we have a lot of people that are educating school districts as they apply. For example, even if, say, all of you were undergraduates and you were in your final semester at KState as undergraduates, our kids right now, our students are applying for teaching jobs. They don't have teaching licenses, right? But it's understood by the school district that they're applying to that they're anticipating their license before the fall. You can do the same thing as elementary teachers. You can, if you want to be a part of the residency, you can anticipate that you're going to be a part of the residency program, and school districts may not know. I probably talked to a dozen, 15, I don't want to exaggerate, but at least a dozen administrators over the course of the last couple of weeks, as word is spreading about the elementary residency program. So, and we're going to send another email out, and I'm fine with, the email that I just showed you from Catherine Schmidling from KSD. I can send it. It's public information. I'm totally comfortable sharing that with school administrators anywhere. But now it sounds like I'm kind of pushing the residency. I don't want to push that on anyone that's not comfortable. You may be the kind of person that wants to take it a little bit more slowly and, go into it just, with the 64 hours in the fall to kind of get my bearings and so forth sounds better to me than going full blast and being the teacher of record in August. That's totally okay. We've been doing this program, for 7 years, and that's the way everyone's done it until, basically this year. So if you're one of those people, more power to you, just fine. Take your time, and you too will. But eventually, like John Dewey said one time, this is paraphrasing what Dewey said. John Dewey's, this famous philosopher, progressive era philosopher, right? And also great educationist. And he said, teaching people how to be teachers without going into the schools is like teaching someone how to swim before they go to the pool, right? And there's some advantages to talking about swimming before you go to the pool and how to be safe and what the pool's going to feel like, and all that kind of stuff. And there's some advantage to doing that with us, but ultimately, to be honest, what we try to do in the classes is just provide you with a framework, an edifice, a series of ideas and values and skills and so forth that are uniquely yours, that you can apply to the judgments that you make as a teacher. You don't think about this, but you're, as a teacher, as an elementary teacher, you're making dozens of decisions that impact the lives of your students, every day. A kid says, hey, Miss Quinn, you won't believe this, but animals from the zoo escaped last night. My neighborhood was closed down, and I was unable to do my homework. And so can I turn it in tomorrow? Well, the rest of the class is watching you, Miss Quinn. What are you going to say about the zoo animals escaping and turning the work in later? Or what are you going to do? And or a kid asked to go to the bathroom, and it was just after recess where they had a chance to go to the bathroom, or whatever the case may be. And the quality of those decisions matters. And the rest of the kids are all watching how you react and how you respond, and they're gonna, all that stuff matters. So it's not just teaching is not just a matter of following a script. You know what I mean? We can give you some really solid principles, and we will, about how to be clear and how to use good examples, and how to motivate kids, and their various thinking levels and all that stuff. But ultimately, it's up to you before, during, and after teaching to make these wise judgments about how to proceed. And it's just not easy, and you get better with it as you gain more experience. And teaching's funny. Sometimes you go into, you have this neat idea about what you want to do with your third graders, and you're just really certain that it's going to work, and it flops. And sometimes you're not as confident in an idea, and magic happens, and hands go in the air, and the kids are excited, and you've created what I call a need to know. They want to learn more. And when that happens, and again, teaching is the kind of thing too, I'm on my soapbox now and I'll get off of it, but it's the kind of thing too where you're not going to have a lot of, you're not going to get a lot of third graders come up to you and, say, geez, what a great teacher you are. You did such a nice job today, or thanks for providing such careful examples. But you'll know those moments where magic happens and you'll steal them away and think about them at night. And you'll try to explain to, your partner or a friend or whomever that what happened in school today, and they'll kind of get it, but they won't really get it unless you're a teacher. Then you really get it. It's kind of like being I suppose, a cop or a fireman or something. It's really difficult to know exactly what the job entails unless you're in the throes of it. Well, I've gone on too long. And it looks like Brittany's been and Brina have been very good at answering questions.
One thing I was going to mention, they need to adjust the interview process because everything is designed for teachers, for people with teaching experience. And so they would they go down the list of questions, and then you have to kind of, use your business experience or your previous experience. But some of the questions just don't correlate. So I'm sure they'll do that.
They do. My daughter just is switching. She just got she taught in KCK for 3 years, and now she's moving to Parkville. And she went through the interview process, and you're right. But she had that 3 years of experience, right? So she had all of that to draw upon. And but what we should do maybe is have some little Zoom of people that have just recently been through, like you, Jason, that have been through interviews that would be willing to share their experiences with the students that are interviewing. And we even have our MAT students that are finishing up right now, right? They're all applying for jobs right now. Our job placement rate, I didn't put that in my thing, but it's super high, as you might imagine. How do I say this diplomatically or fairly? We have some great undergraduate students here at KState, right, that are going to be awesome teachers. They're 22 years old and they can flat teach right now. But we also have some people, some of our undergraduate students that still have a little maturing to do. You know what I mean? And you can imagine when you were 22 years old, maybe you still have. And so as a principal, if all other things being equal, if they can hire an adult who already has some decent professional experience rather than somebody fresh out. And again, I don't want anyone to say Avance is practicing ageism. I'm not. I'm just being truthful and honest with you about how principals would perceive you. Your age and experience and so forth are benefit. It's not just, in fact, your grades, I want you all to be 4.0 students in the MAT, but honestly, do principals look at that? No. What do they look at most? They look at what the single most important thing is, a recommendation from somebody that's seen you teach. And if your cooperating teacher says, you can do the job, or if, say you're a para, right? You're a para right now, and the one of the teachers that you work for writes a letter, that's powerful evidence that you can do the job. All right, we're an hour into this. Brittany, have I missed any questions?
I don't believe so. I think we were able to cover most of them. If anyone does have any questions that come up after this, I will put my email for Diane and I, as well as Dr. Vance's contact information in the chat. So feel free to shoot any of us an email and we'll be happy to help you out. And then also just a reminder that this is being recorded and it will be sent out to all of you later on. So if you got in late or you had anything you wanted to watch back, you'll be able to do so. And then lastly, for attending this webinar, you are eligible for an application fee waiver. So when you are ready to apply, feel free to reach out to Diane or myself at online@ksu.edu, and we will be happy to provide you with an application fee waiver code. And with that, I just want to thank everyone for joining us here tonight and thank Dr. Vance for that presentation. And I hope everyone has a good rest of your evening.
Hey, everybody, one last thing. I put my phone number in there. It's my cell phone. You can call me in the evenings, on the weekends. My wife and I are empty nesters. And so you can call anytime you have a question. And again, if you need someone to educate your school on the residency program, just have them give me a call, shoot me an email. I'm happy to do that. I'm Tom Vance. I'm the director of the MAT program, and I'm signing off from Morse Bluff, Nebraska. See you all later. Thank you so much for coming, and I hope to see all of your applications soon.